Hello, everyone. My name's Kieran. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Newport County pre-match podcast. Usually, I do these midweek before a game, so there's plenty of time to go into it. But instead, we're doing this one around 10 o'clock on the Friday, and the game's on the Saturday. So, really organised as you'd expect. But I'm not doing this, of course, on my own, as I'd not have a clue what to say in a Wimbledon perspective. I'm joined by Edgeworth today just to talk about AFC Wimbledon the season up till now, and hopefully what will be an exciting fixture and not a nil-nil, as I put on Twitter. So, first of all, mate, thanks for taking the time out of your evening to have a chat with me. And how are you?
No problem. I'm alright. I'm just shocked we're able to keep clean sheets. I mean, I haven't seen this in a while.
In all fairness, we could do some learning of how to keep clean sheets, and you can do some lessons on how to score stupid amounts in terms of every single game. Yet saying that, we'll go into the beginning, which is your recent form, and we'll go last five because there's a certain game in there that I'm sure me mentioning once more, I'm sure it won't upset you too much. But we'll talk your last five. It is three wins, one draw, one loss. I read it the wrong way around.
Yeah,
So it began with a 1-0 loss away to Doncaster. It then was followed by a 1-0 win to a certain Milton Keynes. Then moved to a 0-0 against Grimsby, where I believe you messaged me on Twitter saying how you score goals. And since then, you've scored 4 and 2, including a 2-0 away win to Notts County, and then a 2-0 win to also playoff contenders Gillingham. So, in terms of your recent form, how has that kind of changed your opinion? Because I've had many a chats to you about playoff aspirations and all this stuff, and you've never been too confident. Have the recent five kind of given you a little bit more hope
yeah.
that you could push over the line?
Well, I think at the start of that recent five at Doncaster, where we lost 1-0, um, JJ was getting a lot of stick because of his sub, where we were 1-0 down and we didn't have a striker on for 20 minutes, and so yeah, and then obviously the MK game was, it was amazing, and then since that MK game we managed to take it on from there, and yeah, 4 clean sheets in a row without Johnson and Joe Lewis, who we paid. Joe Lewis we paid I think 200 grand for in January, and we haven't had him for 2 months. So the fact we're keeping clean sheets with that makeshift back three is really good.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to dispute it at all. And like I said in the intro, I'm sure we'd love to be able to keep a clean sheet every now and again. But in terms of what we'll go to an entire season, I guess review up until now, has it went how you expected, or has it went better or worse? How has the kind of feel been over the past, 6 months or so?
It's actually gone much better than expected because a lot of we obviously finished 21st last season, which was our disgraceful season after going down the season before, and then so at the start of the season we were actually in the playoffs for a lot of time, and I don't think we've gone apart from two games, 3 games ago. We haven't dropped out of the top 12, which has been amazing. I think a lot of people predicted us to finish around 15th, 14th, but I've, so the fact we're you know in the shouts for the playoffs is really good, and I think a lot of it is down to Craig Cope's recruitment. I mean, almost every single signing has been spot on from him since he came in last January. So a lot of credit is to him.
I think I put you in my predictions. I think I put you 12th, so I'll give myself credit. I'm not too far off with how this League Two table is going, and weirdly, Newport currently sit in 12th, which I think from the mutual conversations I've had with AFC Wimbledon fans and kind of taking Newport into perspective, both teams have done incredibly well in comparison to how they were predicted, I suppose, in the beginning of the season up until now. I'll go just over quickly the most recent 5 for Newport, just for anyone that may not be aware. It started off with a not so pleasant trip to Stadium NK, losing 3-0. We then travelled to Harrogate away, which this was, I think, 3 or 4 games after they lost 9-2 to Mansfield. We then proceeded to beat them 4-1. Speaking of Mansfield, we followed with a 1-0 loss at home to Mansfield, and then a 1-0 loss away to Stockport. Two pleasing games in the defensive aspect, not so much in the offensive aspect, and then a complete counter opposite of that in midweek as we beat Morecambe, who are also playoff contenders in terms of where you look at them position wise. We beat them 5-3. So yeah, it's been a very mixed form in terms of Newport, and I suppose that's why a lot of us are kind of writing us off in terms of getting playoffs and everything else in between. But yeah, in terms of Wimbledon, then in terms of the players that you've had for player of the season contenders, who are the ones that you think can cause Newport problems now come tomorrow?
I think the biggest one is Omar Beagle. I think it's his final game before he goes off to international duty, but he's been immense this season. I mean, at the first half of the season, he was getting Al Hamadi chances and goals and whatever, and then since Al Hamadi's gone, we've needed someone to step up and start scoring, and he's done that as well. On Tuesday night, he scored 2 against Jules, which was amazing header and then a tapping, a poacher's tapping. So the fact he's able to step up and he doesn't just score a couple goals, his pressing from the front and how well he's able to get the ball back from the striker centre forward position is amazing. And also you got Jake Reeves, who can he can control the midfield and play balls for fun and just keep the team calm when we need to. And also Alex Bass in goal. I know when he joined, a lot of Bradford fans weren't too happy with him, but he's another one who's been immense since he's joined us. Amazing saves, and he's one of the reasons why we're able to keep so many clean sheets with his saves.
Yeah, I mean, you talk goalkeepers actually. I'm sure a lot of Newport fans will be crediting Nick Townsend for some of the games and some of the performances he's been putting in recent weeks. You look at the Stockport game, we had something on the lines of 14 shots on target against us, and we only conceded 1 at the depth. So realistically, despite the score lines, I think we also pose that ability to keep clean sheets. But I think one of the players I did want to slightly cover over was Jake Reeves, and we had such a successful campaign last time out with Stevenage, and of course he's been at you before. So in terms of you briefly touched on him, but I think when I wrote a little article thing at the start of the season in terms of who I thought signing wise would be the best for each club, and I put Jake Reeves as yours by quite a landslide. Is that something that has kind of succumb and been pretty accurate, or is there like you mentioned with the recruitment being so solid, is it a situation where all of your signings you've made this season, whether it be summer or winter, have meant that you've been in this situation where you're talking playoffs?
Yeah, I think he's definitely has been good. I mean, as you touched on, he's been at us before, and so yeah, I think he's definitely made a massive change. I mean, he's obviously our captain, and the way he leads the team, and almost gave the team a new identity. As the last couple, I mean, not even the last couple, the last almost decade, we're always in a relegation fight or lower mid-table. Apart from the playoff win in 2015-16 against Plymouth, we're always, we've always been up against it. And the fact he's managed to come in, get captain, and now we're back to winning ways in the first time in forever. he's been crucial. And also when he's I think he's had 2 injuries this season where he's been out for a couple of weeks. Well, you can see the difference when he's not in the team. The way he dictates it is, much better than anyone else. And I think he's definitely up there for player of the season. But I just think our recruitment has been so good that I think there's 1 or 2 others that might be ahead of him, like, as I mentioned earlier, Omar Beagle and even Alex Bass in goal.
I remember I remember mentioning Bugiel and Bogle in terms of being in the same team, and I'm pretty sure this is one of the things you said you'd want to see just out of a name thing, if anything. But one thing I want to focus on is that, of course, this is at Plough Lane, and we can very briefly cover the game that happened, of course, at Rodney Parade very early on in the season, and what was actually a really nice and sunny day. You were 2-0 up. Okay, obviously, we came back. It ended 2-2, but we can talk home form that you're currently in. You're 10th in the home form table, which is a record of 9 wins, 5 draws, and 5 losses. Have you noticed a significant kind of change in form and an almost really convenient change in ways when you play home in comparison to away? Or are you equally as good home and away, and that kind of 12th man advantage doesn't really comply like it will with potentially other teams?
Oh yeah, 100%. Our home form has improved so much. I mean, the last couple of seasons we were notorious for being 1-0 up in the 80th minute and then conceding in the 88th, and in some games even conceding in the 92nd. So the fact that there's been a change in us being able to keep leads instead of bottling them consistently, there's been a massive difference. And I think our home form has been much better than our away form as well, because apart from when we won at Notts County, we just can't. I don't know what it is, but we'll have a good performance at home and then we'll go up to Barrow and draw 0-0 or lose 1-0. I think before Notts, the only away win we had up north was Harrogate back in September. So yeah, I think there's a massive difference between how we perform home and away, and I think some of it might be to do with the pitches, because obviously we at Plough Lane, the stadium was built in 2020, so it's a new pitch, and also the weather down here is better than up north, and so when we go up to Accrington or somewhere where or Bradford, where the pitch is much worse and we're more suited to pass the ball on the deck style, it hurts us.
Yeah, I mean, I actually decided to open up the away form because I hadn't looked at this beforehand. But weirdly, you're also 7th in away form, 6 wins, 7 draws, 6 losses, and I suppose it does show the change in the consistency at home and away and all this other stuff. But we'll go into kind of Wimbledon as a playing team. How do you tend to structure formation wise and tactics wise? Because it'll be interesting to hear that, depending on how you play in comparison to how we play against teams that potentially play with a similar style.
Well, it's actually interesting you say that, because since that MK game where we won, there's been a massive shift in how we play. So before MK, we normally played a 4-4-2 or a 4-3-1-2. But then for the MK game and since, we have played almost like a 3-4-2-1 with Bogle at the top of the triangle, and so yeah, I think so. There's been a massive push for defensive solidity with the 3-4-2-1, because before that we got overran so much in the 4-4-2, and I think so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd seen some tweets, whether it had been from you or other AFC Wimbledon fans I follow and have a check with their Twitter, mentioning that you've went through this change. So that's a good reason that I asked the question. But I'll ask this one as a potential opening in terms of what Newport could use in terms of the weaknesses you have had maybe in the recent games that you worry could be exploited. Is there any there, or in terms of recent games, have you not noticed anything that is overly captivating?
To be fair, I think the only problem that we kind of have is I always think we're a counter attacking team, right? And the recently, I don't know if it's to do with the formation change, minus Knots and MK, we seem to try and play as a possession team, and I always thought we were a counter attacking team, and a lot of the time when we play possession, we waste so many chances and then get counter attacked the other end and concede. And so I think our main weakness is, uh, teams countering us on the counter attack, and we concede a lot on the counter. So I think that's our main weakness. But I mean, apart from that, I can't, because this formation has worked so well, I can't really find any.
Yeah, that's very fair and very understandable. I think again we'll go very brief into it into a Newport form in terms of what potentially worries us is pace and abundance, and that tends to sometimes compensate with a counter attack, depending on, of course, how fast you go from point A to point B. But in the same way, there have been moments where we've attacked on the counter. So this could be very much an end-to-end game, and it's one that I'd hope will be very interesting for the neutral to watch. But we'll go to the last question, the most important one, and depending on your opinion on it, might be your least favorite one. Score prediction. How do you think this game goes?
I think I, I'm very unsure, because depending on the score prediction depends on my thoughts on playoffs as well. I'd say hmm, I, I think 1-0. We nick it with a 90th minute Ronan Curtis winner.
I don't like 90th minute losses, but we'll add this extra thing in now that you've mentioned it. Should you win on a Saturday, are you in Frontier to get playoffs?
Yeah. This is what I was like almost inciting with the score prediction. Like, I think I've been, I haven't thought we would get playoffs, but then we kept winning, and I think if we win against you, I don't think we're fully knocking you out of the playoff race, but it's just another team that is further away from us. And I think we got a couple of games like that coming up where we got teams just outside the playoffs, and if we win against them, it's just making it even harder for them to challenge us for playoffs. So I think if we win, um, I think maybe just about. But we also got Omar Beagle out for the Crew Alexandra game, so I I don't know what will happen in that game. But I don't know. It's really hard to say. I think I'll go. I'll go just about.
You know what? I think from a Newport perspective, and this almost feels like every single game, if we are to lose this one, I think for the most part we'll probably check out of the unlikely push for playoffs. It was never the intention and the ambition anyway. We were always a team that, especially this season, we're looking to prove the people that have put us in relegation wrong, and we've done that. We've got the success off the field. So, admittedly, I don't expect playoffs. I do expect us to maybe not drop out. I think we'll still give it a good go, but just fall short. And I'm not going to say we lose now tomorrow, but I'm also not convinced we'll win. It's a very difficult place to go. You're in good form, and a convincing win against Gillingham, where admittedly, yes, they had a red card, but they're a very tough team to break down, and you did it twice, so you can't discredit the attacking qualities. And even beforehand against Notts County, I've regularly said they are the best team we faced, home and away. And again, it sounds like you beat them, and from what I saw, beat them rather convincingly. So I'm not going to go with us to win it. I'm going to say I'm going to say 1-1. I think that even if you look at the history of this fixture, more often than not, it's a draw. More often than not, it's a 2-2. So I could say an absolute repeat, but I'm going to say 1-1 just off of the fact of I feel like both teams could play with an intention of not losing, because you've came in with this defensive stability, but also are known to break teams on the counter. We've come off of a game where we scored 5, and there could be the potential for you to kind of lean back. But either way, it's going to be a very interesting watch. And unless you have anything else you want to add on Wimbledon, Newport, or the game, I think we're ready to wrap it up there.
I think one thing you said, where you said you weren't expected to get playoffs. We're exactly in the same boat. That's why I'm not too bothered if we don't get playoffs. And I know there's a lot of people that would want to get playoffs, but I'm honestly not too bothered. I think our main focus is building a team for next season, because I think we're almost there in having a team where we can push for automatics next season. And so I think, although it would be good to get playoffs, I don't think it should be a number one priority. I think, the main thing is for us building for next season, and where I think we have a massive chance at going up. But yeah, that's about it from me.
Yeah, and I entirely reciprocate it from a Newport aspect. I don't think we immediately need promotion this season. We're given our new ownership and everything, and the potential to look forward to things where I'm not in a position where I feel we need immediate success. Either way, I'm hoping it's a really good game of football, and it's one that we can remember for the positives and the nice football, which weirdly these two teams tend to produce when they play each other. So, in terms of your social medias and everything that you want to kind of potentially promote, I'll chuck them in the description just to let the people know where they can find you.
Only really on Twitter. Twitter is FPL Edgeworth, and yeah, that's about it.
Fantastic. I will chuck the link in the description, probably one of the top lines. But yeah, mate, thank you for taking the time out of your day to have a chat about the game ahead of it tomorrow.
No problem.
So yeah, that is all we've got in terms of a AFC Wimbledon Newport game. Like I said, and like I'm sure Edgeworth reciprocates. Hopefully, it's an entertaining game, and hopefully everyone travelling up to Wimbledon, has a safe journey there. I know there's a lot of road closures and everything, and there's having to be a lot of diversion. So hopefully everyone gets there safe. And yeah, other than that, I hope you've all enjoyed this edition of the Newport County Pre-Match Podcast. If you have, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, as well as comment your thoughts ahead of the game if you're watching it before the game, or comment your thoughts of the game after it's gone. So yeah, support the channel as well in whatever way you see fit, using all the links in the description. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on when you're watching this. And let's hope we can pick up 3 points. Take care.